now, and I'm going to tell you something. Uh, the angry people from Kathleen Kennedy's mothership are very much on the warpath right now. They've been trying to trend the acolyte. What they don't understand is that it doesn't matter anymore. They don't matter anymore. The idea, even from like 5 years ago, that Disney had been taking Twitter, when it was Twitter, and the fanaticism going on seriously, instead of doing the right thing for their franchises, is done. They're not doing it anymore. They need to return Star Wars to a profitable franchise. And in order to do that, things have to change. So last night we get the news, Deadline dropped it first, and then it exploded, that The Acolyte had been canceled. Season 2's no more. It's not shocking that they would do this. It's not holy shit, that they would do this. What it is, in my opinion, is just good business. All right, the show drove people off Disney Plus. Okay, I don't care if they said they made a profit last quarter, but the show did drive people off of Disney Plus. It was too woke. It was poor. It was, from what we've been told, Headland handed in an unfinished pile of junk. And that's what was created out of it, was junk. So, we have to look at that and go, okay, we get it. We now see it. It didn't, make any money. It didn't bring people in. Okay, why? Well, normies in this day and age, I think the world is changing a lot. Sick and tired of seeing families get offended, religious people getting offended. Hi, Cross. I may watch it just to laugh, just out of curiosity now, because I know we're never going to see it again. But, like I said, people were getting sick and tired of being offended. Okay, and like I said in my upload this morning, The Acolyte wasn't created because Leslie Headland loves Star Wars. She could say she loves Autumn Leaves and I wouldn't believe her. Okay, why? Her actions, The Acolyte, the way the show was conceived, the way it was written about. It's not about Star Wars. Hey, Musk, it's about Leslie Headland, which is exactly what Kathleen Kennedy wanted her to do. Now, she's been quiet. Both of them have been quiet about this. But I do think that Headland knew it was going to be canceled, which is why she was running around to different websites and channels like the Mary Sue, etc., looking for support. Because, Rain Roberts was running around for a little bit. So is Simon Emanuel, who was also one of the producers. But then those two guys just disappeared and left Headland to fend for herself. So I think the word was on the street that the show was going to be canceled, and it was. Good. Why? It hurt the brand. Okay. It hurt the brand. It hurt the franchise. All right. It hurt Disney Plus. It was like the sepsis of infection just getting everywhere. All right. And it had to go. Now, what does it mean for the future? Well, if you ever go on Fandom Wire, that's so clickbait, misinformation, bullshit. I think it was the last article, it was like June 21st, but they kept talking about how Daisy Ridley's Star Wars movie is in full being filmed. No, it's not. You know, this is what happens when you don't pay attention to things like the earnings call, to things like D23 and what's been announced and what was shown. The only things that were shown, Skeleton Crew, Ambor, and Mando and Grogu. That's it. Okay. Bob Iger at the earnings call. Mando and Grogu. Nothing else. The idea that these people are still pushing a false narrative, and they know it's false. You can't possibly make anybody with a brain who actually looks at everything. You can't make me and those of us who think critically think that that is ever going to happen. Okay. So I think they'll just let that die. And as far as the acolyte goes, if they're canceling season 2, which they did, they will probably go and pull it off of Disney Plus soon. Obviously, whoever paid for it didn't get any bang for their buck. And I think they probably just cut it loose. Okay. So there's that. And then, we've got Jon Favreau at D23, Dave Filoni, walking amongst the fans, talking to people. You never saw Kathleen Kennedy do that. You never saw her do that. Okay, different style of leadership. Now, George didn't do that, but George, unlike Kathy's a very shy person. He's actually very, standoffish in lots of ways. So you give that man his room. But John's gregarious. He's the guy that, invites everybody over to his house for a catered gourmet meal from Spago, or he makes it himself, and sit around the table and drinking wine and, talking. And it's the Greeks called it a symposium and the Romans called it a convivial. That's what he does. Okay. So you can see that gregarious, hospitable attitude, which I love. Star Wars needs that in a leader. Okay. And someone who loves the fans. Because Kathleen Kennedy hates us. Hey, Mike. So this is good. And what I think is going to happen is we're going to hear soon that Kennedy is leaving. All right. But as far as I can tell, she's been on suspended leave since last year. All right, since like last July. And John's been doing stuff. Now I want to tell you guys this. The usual suspects at Lucasfilm have said nothing about the show. But there's been an uptick in bot activity. Like my upload from this morning, I got a really weird letter from the official YouTube account about them taking that upload down, and it's still up. Okay. So I don't know what that means. X accounts that were anti-acolyte are getting bombarded in bot attacks. And it's like, yeah, they're upset. I mean, they're panicking, they're upset. They do not want us to enjoy this. Hey, Polly, how you doing? So Polly had Cameron on last night, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the deepfake stuff. Cameron, our contact, or his contact at Lucasfilm, Sparrow had heard in a roundabout way that, yes, Jon Favreau has spent millions of dollars on deepfake technology to restore Han and Leia. All right. And I know a lot of people want them recast. And I have a hard time with Sebastian Stan. First off, I don't really like him as a person. He was in that Trump movie that is never going to get touched with a 10-foot pole. I mean, none of the studios wanted it because why? Because they would be sued into next summer. Okay, that's why. It was full of misinformation and propaganda. I don't even have to see it to know that. The fact that Stan played Trump in that movie just makes me sick. Okay, just, that's one thing. Second thing, I tried to watch, hey Cameron. Oh, I know they are, but I just, you can have those politics and stay away from something like that. My thing is, have a disagreement with somebody, but if you turn it into what they've turned it into, then, I'm mad at Mark Hamill, to be honest. I mean, the guy, it's like, you have every right to say what you're saying, and I understand that, but you're driving people away too. All right, it's better if you're an actor or an actress who's a public figure, who's popular, it's better just to ease off and just, vote the way you vote and what have you. But remember that your livelihood, at least half your audience, if at times more, are going to be insulted. And you don't want to do that. You're there to entertain people. Okay. And I watched part of the Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee show on, was it Hulu? And I was like, I can't get behind that. The two guys that were Luke and Mando, season 2, and then I guess the Book of Boba Fett. They're two different actors. Actually did a really good job. I thought they looked more like Mark Hamill did back then to begin with. So that I think that would almost be an easier fit, which is why when I think about it, oh, and hi Cameron, which is why when I think about it, the less work I would think you'd have to do to fit, say the faces over the face and make it look natural, that would be a better way to go. And I almost think it would probably be cheaper. So Anthony Ingruber right now could play a young Han Solo without any of that. If you did the deepfake enough, you could not see the difference. He was actually, and this is secret squirrel stuff, but he was actually in some of the more heavy-duty action sequences in Dial of Destiny, in the deepfake. That was him. He also played the guy, he's uncredited, but in the scene where they're at that auction in Morocco or Tunisia, or I can't remember where, and Indy's got the whip and he's facing this group of people. You see the guy at the end. All right, you're facing the camera, so he's on that side. With the big mustache, that's Anthony Ingruber. Okay. And, there wouldn't be a whole lot you'd have to do. The one thing I'm going to say, as disappointed as we were that he did not get the role of Han Solo in Solo, a Star Wars story, you say, thank you God he didn't get that. Okay. You have to watch the movie if you haven't. And I've got Disney Plus, so I scrolled through it one night on it. Maze dared me to watch it. I watched it. It was, I was horrified. It was, you got Pando Lando, LL37, and you could have Phoebe Waller-Bridge just do the voice, and her natural smugness, I'm so cool, look at me attitude goes through it, and it just makes you want to go, ugh. You know, it was just, and then the rest of it, I just, Larry Kasdan knew better, and he still let it happen. I'm like, why? So no, I'm glad Gruber didn't do that. But here's what I'm thinking. Last year, because I was looking for the name of the reporter that Pablo Hidalgo had been talking to, when I can't remember if it was the Wrap, Wired, or the Fandom Wire. This French reporter who was the one that put the Gina Carano's no longer working at Lucasfilm in The Mandalorian because I'm blowing the anti-Semitic dog whistle, is the same reporter that reported this on either Wired, Fandom Wire, or The Wrap. And we caught him in a conversation right before the story that he posted came out with Pablo's private account. So I'm thinking, I would agree, Cross. I'm thinking that, because look, anybody who's anybody at Lucasfilm right now that actually supported this garbage that got canceled, they're quiet. Like Cameron said, they are panicking. They are absolutely out of sorts. Because what does it mean? And then I gotta go because I'm gonna be late for this thing. I gotta go do. It means that the end is nigh. Now I have ideas. They're probably. I mean, look. I don't think Cameron knows this. They're still on Fandom Wire, which is just a joke, trying to convince people that the Rey movie's in full swing, even though they didn't mention it at all at D23. Bob Iger did not say a word about it at all at the last earnings call, but he mentioned Mando and Grogu. Okay, there you go. I think they are panicking because Pablo hasn't said a word on Blue Skies. And he has said, I mean, he posted something yesterday or reposted something on his public account on X, but that's it. He's been quiet ever since. I'm going to leave you guys with this. This is from my upload. Watch it, please. Here's the deal. I think they knew, people knew, it was being canceled, and it had been canceled. I think Hedlund went around, like to the Mary Sue interview with that Rachel Leishman. Anybody do a wellness check on her, by the way? Because I think she probably should have someone check in on her and make sure she's okay. Because she was trying to look for support. And then it got leaked to Deadline, and then it went everywhere because it went viral because it's true. Okay, so I think they knew for a while. I think they're trying to keep up the pretense that the Rey movies going forward because they're trying to, I don't know, fuck with John and Dave. You know, it's just, I mean, they don't have any, like Cameron said, no bullets in their guns. Okay, here's what to look for. I haven't heard anything new coming out for the High Republic except for they were advertising comic books, but they've become so irrelevant, okay, in the world, which is sad. But that's it. I would expect that announcement that it's been canceled to happen soon. And it's very interesting to me that they haven't mentioned it, they haven't talked about it, but I have a feeling we're going to see that go next. Are we going to see the acolyte get yanked from Disney Plus? I have a theory on that. Cameron, if he's still here, can back me up or tell me I'm wrong. I think the people that funded it, realized they'd put money on a bad horse that they never should have gone near, and have just said, we're done. They cut her loose. They cut it loose. It didn't work. And I think I think if that's the case, we will see it pulled off of Disney Plus. Why would they leave it up? It's why. It's like, and meanwhile, we've got bots attacking X accounts. We've got weird letters from YouTube that, really don't mean anything because that video's still up. I passed around to people I know and they said, yeah, we can see it. So I think it's time that we go to stage 2. What's going to happen next? Okay, because, they discovered that they never should have released it to begin with. Kennedy discovered that. All right. She discovered she made a bad decision. It's too late now, but there you go. Among, so many other bad decisions. Okay, so phase 2 is what happens between today and October 31st. That's phase 2. But anyway, I gotta go. I've got to go to base to do something. And then I'm going to take the scoundrel for a walk. So I'll see you guys later. I'll see you around the galaxy. If anything else happens, let me know. I'll be around. So talk to y'all later.